Are you ready? That's the next thing we could talk about it. This is our Insider Tech series. I want to ask something that our audience is really gonna love. Did you face any obstacles of just having a high school diploma when you came into the cybersecurity and the technology field? And if you did, how did you overcome those?
Yes. To put it simply, I faced a lot of obstacles, and I still do to this day, because I'm still, pursuing my bachelor's degree, reluctantly, to be honest, because I still don't believe it's 100% necessary to be in this field. I don't think it's necessary at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think companies who believe in it have an outdated method of thought. And you see more and more companies like Google and Amazon and Apple, publicly come out and say, hey, we don't care if you have a bachelor's degree anymore. If you have a passion for technology, we want you. But to the beginning of the question again, the diversities I faced often were just a question of my skills and knowledge. And the best way I overcame that was developing a personal portfolio of applications, using things like GitHub, using things like blogs, and developing material around, things that I knew in depth, developing a starting guide of how to get started with Python, or, how to get started in JavaScript or HTML and CSS, building these applications freelance, taking on clients without getting paid. And I highly don't suggest that nowadays, and I don't suggest that enough. If you have the knowledge to build a website, you deserve to be paid for it. And I can't stress that enough to the viewers, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, those are the sacrifices that I made, a few years ago, not realizing my worth and not realizing the knowledge that I possessed was something that most people just didn't take that extra mile, or didn't have that curiosity to chase after.
True.
So yeah, I overcame that diversity of my own, people questioning my own self-worth and trying to undercut me and trying to, give me 40K when the guy who just graduated got, 80K, but he doesn't know the first thing of how to do a Linux command, or, can't build his own VM systems. He can't, do basic testing on an application. But, he went to school for 4 years, and, he turned in papers, and he got a decent GPA, but has not a bit of understanding of how to actually
real
do
life experience.
Wow.
Real life experience.
Yeah.
And, so companies like that, I said, no, thank you. I'm going to find somewhere else. And it took a while. And luckily I was, networking at the same time. And I met a lot of wonderful people and a lot of wonderful humans who were just like, hey, I see your focus and your love for technology. Let me open the door for you, regardless of your degree. And one of my primary mentors, Paul Van, was the one who got me in front of Sly that one year at RSA. He was like, hey, come to this conference with me, welcome to this company. I'm going to bring you under my arm. And from there, I just started developing my connections and continuously building my knowledge and working so hard in those jobs in those opportunities that I was given, and continuously excelling even without, that degree, because it doesn't frame my knowledge. It doesn't show, that I can do what I can do. Having a portfolio, a robust portfolio, shows that you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And it's more important nowadays, I think, to really have that, to really develop your own portfolio, because one, it lets you know what you like and what you don't like. Sly, you said you started doing some web development, but you realized you didn't like it. So having that ability and free time to test while you're
you like it,
test it out and fall in love with it. It's so important as a technologist, because there are so many paths. Like I said earlier, it's hard for me to decide what I am, like what career I really want to focus on, because I'm excited by all of it. I'm excited by the cloud. I'm excited by Splunk. I'm excited about threat hunting. I love web application, managed testing. I love hacking in general. Like, give me a Wi-Fi, environment to hack into, I'll do my best. I love the idea of physical pen testing. I think that's the coolest thing.
Oh man, yeah.
It's just.
I think Gabe, you think you just sparked a little smile over there.
Oh yeah,
right?
That's
so cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, so some of my previous experience was that at a nuclear power power plant doing, like a commercial nuclear plant doing cybersecurity. And if anybody knows about a nuclear power plant, it is a very heavily physically and cybersecurity protected place. I mean, you literally are driving past a plant and you can see guards up on towers with automatic weapons, or
that's so cool to me.
Type of weapon. I mean,
that's crazy.
So our cybersecurity team worked very closely with the physical security team. We didn't do anything without their knowledge of anything. So yeah, that is a very cool type of field that maybe individuals don't even know that's cybersecurity, right? Maybe don't even know that's security in general. But physical security is definitely hand in hand with cybersecurity. They definitely are close cousins for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And it's you will face it for sure coming into this field without a college degree. You will face that diversity, and you will be put up against people who just graduated from college, and you know, it's great they have their degree. And I don't knock, you know, individuals who did it for sure. I think it's an important thing to do, and I push my children, you know, to do it. But I realized, hey, that was not for me, and I realized quickly it wasn't for me because I knew exactly what I wanted to do.
Right.
You know, I was the kid. You know, 1995, I was born. The same year, Hackers the movie came out. I saw the movie when I was 5. And I remember that specifically because I was like, I looked at that movie. I've watched that movie at least good 600 times, if not.
Wow.
And so I knew right away, like, that's what I'm doing. Like, I knew, like, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be a hacker. I had no idea what that meant as a child, but I grew into that role, and I realized that a hacker is anybody who is a technologist who genuinely sees something one way that can be used another way. Yeah. And like, I think that is the coolest thing about our field, is because there are no restrictions, and a degree is not a restriction, and it should not be a restriction. It should not stand in your way, because any company who wants to genuinely hire a technologist, a good technologist, does not put restrictions on them, because that's when they fail, and that's when their money gets thrown out the window.
Or when that resource leaves, right? You know, when they put those creative handcuffs on you, that's when you know you got to make a move, right?
Yep.
So you got to know when to do that as well. So it's funny that you said that movie Hacker. I guess I knew I was in technology from Ninja Turtle days. I'm a little bit old, in 1988. So, when I saw, what's that, Raphael? When he had
Donatello.
The blue bandana.
Yeah, bandana. I think, isn't that a purple bandana?
Purple, pardon.
Yeah. That was my guy, man. I always wanted to be him. And then it's funny. I look back, when I was looking back, like, he always had the computer. You know, so, and that always been me since I was 8, man. I built my first computer, you know, and I also sold my first computer. And then in my neighborhood, I'm Caribbean. It's an all Caribbean neighborhood. A lot of them didn't know how to use computers. So they would call me to fix them. So it just, all my friends to this day call me to fix computers, right? So it's just something I knew I wanted to do. But I also knew I was really good at teaching and educating people, right? And I was just curious, asking other people, like how we on this show. We all have strengths, right? And we in different areas of IT. So just to do a little recap of that insider tip, John talked about, one thing is being curious, right? You need to have curiosity, right? You don't have that high school diploma, you're going to have to hustle a little bit more, right? You're going to have to build that portfolio. You're going to make sure that you can be able to define your worth and show that employer that even though you didn't go to school, you have the capabilities and skills to get it done. And you might have to, you know, make sure to understand your worth. Like, how can you do that? So some good tips I can give you guys that I started using is, hey, I built a YouTube channel to talk about it, right? You can make a website that's so cheap. You can literally make one. Even if you can't code, you can go to Wix, you can go to Weebly, you can go to Squarespace and click 2 buttons and have a website. Showcase yourself, buy that domain, watch a YouTube video on how to do that. You also can, if you don't want to do that path, you can go to Fiverr, right? Go to Fiverr and put your skills up there. I literally saw a little kid on Fiverr he's going to charge someone $5 to play his video game for him. And he'll post it on you and make a Twitch channel. So if you want to figure out how to build that portfolio, keep doing it, right? Anything else I missed, John, on there, Gabe? What else would you tell them, you know, just to sum this up for that part?
No, kind of along with that story, kind of what we were talking about before, just even that interest and that curiosity. I mean, I grew up watching Family Matters, right? The typical Black family, police officer and mother, right? But then Steve Urkel was obviously the star of that, right? He was he was, you know, a nerd, he was goofy, but there were always little inventions that he would bring forth. I was like, wow, like, even though he's a very goofy guy, what he's doing is really cool. Right? people weren't really, they weren't, they focused on his, his persona.
Yeah.
But I think that kind of even that curiosity and that interest, that's one thing that definitely sparked my interest too, is with Steve Urkel, his inventions. And even I think the last episode, he went to NASA, like he was working for NASA. He got an opportunity.
That was cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So yeah,
you say that because I used to love
the same thing with curiosity.
Too,
What's that?
I said Steve Urkel was the man too, right? Man, people used to call me Steve Urkel. I used to get all mad.
Yeah.
But thinking back about it, he was really good, like you said, inventing, finding problems and solving them, right? So it's kind of funny. It makes sense why you're in the role you're in today, right?
Yeah.
Things you, John. Make sure to subscribe and click the bell to stay notified.